Anyways, if you made it this far, I'm beyond flattered. Please at least just put, if you don't want to put a personal thing, be like, I made it in an hour, you know, asshole, like, where's my $30? But anyways, because that would be a gift to me. I was going on about the whole cheating thing or whatever, right? God, wait, no, I was talking about low self-esteem and all that other stuff. Oh, because I thought I needed those things or whatever, right? Totally don't need none of that. The only thing that I tell my girlfriend or whatever is just, please just be yourself or whatever. I'm the most shallow dude. What happened? Oh, why did you... freaking me out now. But anyways, and that's how strong a woman's love is, you know. You see beyond that, and even the most shallow person will see that. And eventually, shit, she'll start. That good motivation will get her to even look as beautiful as what out there is said is what is beauty, you know. Living proof right here. And she fills in, and this is why we can, not we or whatever, but we can send that message because she's that person that has been through the struggle and has had every reason, supposedly every reason, to be like, you know, I'm going to give up or whatever, but has not. I've been given every reason to not give up, and then still people came out and tried to help me out, and you know what, in the end, I can talk about my big ups, as I'm going to, and I'm going to talk about my big downs. You know, I got to talk about my big ups, like my, oh, you know, that I have this mouthpiece, and I don't know why, but I mean, I've just been lucky with females or something like that. I'm not doing it because I'm being conceited, I'm doing it so that you'll listen. So you'll be like, oh, even that asshole or that dude or whatever, you know. That's why his message is different than just some nerdy dude that went to school for 4 years. Or I'll even say that at 20 years old, and I remember being in the MX, so people would get irritated by this, but I was like, I drove a Mercedes-Benz at 20 years old. I mean, shit, that's very flattering, you know. And I'm even going to say that my cousin Sebastian's the one that hooked me up with that opportunity, so thank you very much. Good looking. But I'm going to mention that, and I'm going to mention that I didn't even use until I was 23 or whatever. I mean, yeah, I've smoked pot or whatever, but I mean, I'm talking about like the introduction to the whole Xannies, which I will tell that story too for a certain reason. But anyways, I'll say that so you'll say, even this square dude, you know, he can fall to that. Or even this guy that had this and supposedly had money, or supposedly had these riches, or supposedly had a crib, or supposedly had so many cars, even him can lose it all. Because I used all, and here is another point, I used all that as, oh man, I'm never going to have another house like that. Oh man, I'm in this point. This is my rock bottom, and I'll never be that again. God, back to the list or whatever, because I put certain parts on here. I'll even talk about how my first freaking felony and how, like, I thought my life was over, and I thought, you know what? Like, life is over. Like, felony? I mean, what's more disgusting than that? You know, I didn't know anything like that. I mean, I got my speeding tickets and stuff like that. You know, I went to jail for not paying tickets, but never that kind of trouble. And then I thought, in that energy, what I thought, I was like, it's over, you know. School? What school? You're dead. And I said, I'm gonna fucking rocket till the wheels fall off. And how I thought things were bad then, and how I saw hells that I couldn't even imagine in my worst dreams. Okay? Going on a freaking rant or whatever. But anyways, I'm basically going over this skeptics thing. If you want to say you haven't been through no struggles, or you haven't been through no sad times, I mean, I even remember, because of me, you know, I got all crazy or whatever, and like got me kicked out of my apartment. And I mean, I remember going to the Kroger, and I didn't even know what we were gonna do. And I mean, I remember like my girlfriend at the time, and being with her daughter, and I'm looking, because in Arlington we really don't see that many homeless people. Like, dude, out here in Seattle, it's everywhere, you know. So it's different. It's just basically like now my mind's open to a new experience. I mean, it's more like, oh, okay, you know, it had to happen this way. But anyways, I seen him, and he was sitting on the floor, and he has like some dog, and he was obviously homeless. And growing up, I haven't really seen that much of that or whatever. And I'm not judging, because I could very much be that person. But anyways, I thought in my head, I was just like, damn, like, that dude's lucky. Like, real talk, like, I wish that I didn't have nobody that depended on me. You know, it's one thing for me to, you know, screw up, but that guilt is just such a nasty thing. Andrew, you're right, bro. That guilt is just such a nasty thing. I'm pointing you out because, I mean, oh boy, you're smart. I mean, when you were talking, I want to shut up and listen to you talk, but you're so smart. The stuff that you were saying, and you didn't even know you were saying, and I was just like, hey man, like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, got me amped up. I was outside KFC, my poor girlfriend sitting there, like, I didn't even want to disrespect you and be like, I gotta go, bro. Well, my poor girlfriend's been putting up with all this for such a long time, you know. I mean, that's how it was. But anyways, I'll even talk about how when I first got to the Annexo, and I mean, really sick and really, I mean, real low sick. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna say that or whatever. And like the first night, me going through the withdrawals, and like how I wanted to have, I basically like pray to God, because every coward prays to God when he's not a believer. And I said, please just give me the strength to walk into that kitchen and hopefully get a knife and just slit my wrist, because I just don't want to live anymore. Like, please, I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to be in the way of anything. I just want to get the hell out of here. And because that's how bad this disease will get you. It'll get your mind in the most deep, dark place, and it'll tell you that it's over. And it also will tell you that that's how I felt about a year ago. I felt like that a month ago. I'm telling you today that because of this, and because of, well, those are the people that I've highlighted in a certain way. And I'm here, and I'm excited about tomorrow. Sometimes I can't sleep, and I remember not being able to sleep at night because of the fear. Tonight I can't sleep because of the excitement of opportunity. You know, I think of these ideas, and they don't sound so stupid anymore. And it's been because of living this life. It's been from trying, not doing it, trying. Stop running away from all my fears and all the bullshit that kept me in it and helped me spread it. Now I gotta go back to this. My sponsor, Adolfo. I'm telling you, like, people, if you hear this man talk, I mean, he's just such a beautiful person, you know. He made it through the struggle and everything, but when he talks, he's like just so like poetic with it. But he also like, he can go off on a, you know, crazy little rant, and then all of a sudden he can bring you right back to that point. So I'm gonna try that. I was giving love to the people or whatever. My Uncle Jesse. So, one person that definitely, he's probably convinced that, even because of my actions, that this wouldn't happen. And here we are, Theo. And you're going to start that business, and, you know, I'm going to be a part of it. And we're going to shine. Just like you said, back on the, you know, when we were talking on the phone, I could hear you, bro, and, like, I felt so flattered that my aunt would call me back, and that, you know, I knew that she put me on speaker so that, you know, we could all talk and stuff. And I mean, hey, the one person that you would never think would deserve that, and look what we did. You know? I want to send that out to other people and give them that hope. I talk about my deepest, darkest times like that. I talk about, you know, being in a jail cell. I talk about how screwed up my mind was. I haven't been in any trouble here since I've been in Seattle or whatever. I still have this crazy mindset or whatever, but I just don't try to hurt people today. And how I've been in Arlington jail, and because I was so screwed off on those stupid Xanny bars or whatever, and how they look at me and they're like, I got bailed out, and the cop was like, you know, you're going to get back in here today. And I was like, you know, because that's like a far-fetched thing. That's like the craziest thing on earth, you would think. Like, who goes to jail twice in one day? Tell me why I went to jail back then, or I was in jail again that day. You know, I'm going to talk about this stuff because, you know what? If you ask about me today, or you look at me through a microscope or whatever, I'm nothing like that. And I'm not giving myself credit. I'm putting myself out there too, so that if you have a rebuttal, I need to be able to answer that, and I need to be able to try. And I want you guys to respond and be like, fuck it, you know, this goofy ass dude is on here for 2 hours, you know. Because if you do it, and somebody else is going to see it, and this, I'm telling you, good things, they come and they explode and they stand way, way, way stronger than bad things do. We see a lot of bad stuff, and we're convinced now that bad shit is the only thing that spreads, because it's easy to fall in that bad shit. And what are we going to do? We see that bad shit and we're like, oh, everybody else is doing it, well, screw it. If you're that one person that stops and you just say, hey, you know, I represent this, I am that life, but you know what? I say, F all that, you know, this is the biggest lie, and this is where it's at. And this is where it's at. Anyway, going back to this. Brian, I said I was going to give him a part, even though I feel like slapping the shit out of him sometimes. This poor kid, man, you know, he sends off a message, you know, because he's been, like, rejected his whole life. Dude's probably brilliant, man. I mean, sitting there talking to him, I feel really sad for him because, I mean, I know that he's a good person. Now I have the ability to be able to talk to people like that. Before, I'd probably just judge him and make fun of him because I had issues with myself. But maybe one day he'll probably see this, too, and think something. But, I mean, I totally get that, too, because I have felt those pains. I have felt that rejection. And instead, I fought back and with stronger hate or whatever, and I felt like I was justified. But what did I do? I just made more people feel that. And then those more people, if they were as weak as me, they did the same thing, and then the same thing, and then the same thing. What I'm trying to do today is I'm trying to do the total opposite. And I'll put myself out there on the line. I'm going to talk about deep, dirty, nasty things so that even the person that's maybe in the worst situation, he can look back and be like, this goofy ass dude sitting there in the apartment or whatever, you know, And now he's talking about it and he's putting it online. He's saying, fuck what everybody says. Well, what's wrong with that? You know? Ooh, I don't want to miss anybody on here. I did miss somebody though. Because I was reading it and I was like, how in the world, why in the world did I miss them or whatever? I'm going to talk about one of the big things that basically, like, I see as an epidemic right now is basically, in a lot of people, I don't know why they don't think it is. I mean, yeah, the ice is definitely an epidemic. But heroin eventually will be that epidemic. The pill users, oh, that's the nasty. That's what I used to say too. Shit, man. Whenever I was hooked on that bullshit, I would say a drug addict is a person that's sticking a needle in his arm and doing that. That was just, here I go again with say goodbye to the bad guy. I was giving myself basically a nastier nasty, and I was giving myself a freedom to jump up. And as long as I didn't reach that bullshit, I was all good. I didn't see that eventually. I knew eventually something was going to happen. But I didn't know eventually that I would be so desperate. And anybody that's ever experienced Oxycontin, you know what happens with that. And the withdrawals and everything. Let me highlight one thing because I do have your attention on the Oxycontin topic. I am an opiate addict, a recovering opiate addict. I remember when my sponsor was, he was talking on they call it La Tribuna. And he basically was kind of, we don't make fun, we basically talk in a certain way, una manera that shows love and emotion, and even it might even come off as rough, but it's that tough love, you know? But anyways, he said, if this dumbass, you know, if I had a pill and it was wrapped in shit, he would fucking just clean it off and he'd probably, you know, use it or whatever. And I thought in my head in that time, because I was going through the withdrawals, I was like, fuck yeah, I would. Real talk, I would. I'll say yes, I did think that. There's been another time in my life after that where I've had a whole little prescription of pills. I remember pouring them in my hand, and it was just, that's money to some people, and that's a drug, you know. You're so obsessed on that stupid ass thing. I remember looking at it and thinking, this ain't shit to me. You know, I was exposed to that situation because, I mean, when I came out, I felt like I was going to try to save the world. This isn't me trying to save the world. This is me basically telling you guys, thank you guys. Please keep spreading what you guys gave me. And I know how it is to, because our mind is very, very, very weak, and it forgets about how beautiful you are and how strong you are and how good you are. And it tells you everything's stupid and all kinds of bullshit. And you forget about the things that you do and how you've impacted somebody else. You guys have impacted me like that. And I can just say, this is how you did it. And please just spread it and just, I mean, let this, you know, wildfire just burn, you know what I mean? But in a good way. Okay, I was jumping around the Oxycontin thing. Okay, that's, I see a lot of people still. Oh, they're not users because it's a pill. I even told my girlfriend about my experiences with pills and everything. As a person that doesn't, that was always taught that drugs are nasty or whatever. I remember seeing my friends at a party, and I go up and I'm like, hey man, you know, I'm telling this story for a reason, okay, so please just stay tuned. And this is me thinking like, I saw them passing pills around, I'm thinking disgusting, I'm thinking ecstasy, I'm thinking like, you know, that's like street drugs. Like, you know, that's how my mindset was at that time or whatever. I was naive and I was innocent, you know, to those things or whatever. And I was a lot of different things or whatever. Ignorant. And I asked my friend, hey, like, what are you guys doing? Like, in shame, you know, because we didn't do that together. And, you know, they're popping them or whatever. And I was like, what the fuck? And they're like, oh, no, bro, you know, it's not really the same. You know, it's a prescription. And I was like, okay. I heard prescription, and that kind of tuned out the whole drug thing. Like, my whole, you know, street made in a pharmacy. And then, you know, and then a doctor. You kind of think all these things. I'm like, well, hell, it's just like a Tylenol. I mean, that's not bad for me. I'm not putting disgusting street shit in my body. I was like, well, how does it make you feel? At that point, I think it was after high school, but they were like, you know, do you remember how you feel when you first got drunk? I'm like, hell yeah, you know. I mean, you know how you feel when you first drink and get excited and you start talking like I'm doing right now. I'm not drunk, guys. Anyways, and then they're like, well, minus the hangover. I'm like, well, hell, that's where I'm at. You know what I mean? I like getting down and talking to women and getting, you know, I like getting crunk. Fuck the bullshit. That's how I like to get, you know. That's how we do it in Texas. But anyways, so I kind of played a little tune, beautiful little like orchestra shit in my ear. And it made all sense and it justified it. And I was like, you know what? That's not the same. Go ahead and give it to me, right? I remember just waking up the next morning and like exactly. This reminds me. That's why I have to tell this story. I was in a bed in a freaking If you know who you are, oh God, I hope that you don't take this the wrong way. Because please believe, like, I'm flattered to say this, and I'm not going to disrespect you, but I'm just saying, don't take it the wrong way if you pick up on what story I'm talking about. I'm laying in a bed, and it was in a, it was in a, what do you call it, computer room. And obviously there was no bed in that computer room that night, so I'm like, what the hell? I remember this room, but there was no bed in here, and why am I in a bed? I look over, and there's an arm, and it's a pretty little arm, it's a female. I reach in my pocket, you know, as a 19, 18-year-old kid or whatever, you know, he thinks he's going to get lucky and hope that he's going to get lucky or whatever, and he has that just in case, you know. And they're gone. I'm like, oh, well, hell, at least I was smart or somewhat smart. And I look over and I realize who it is, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You know, this girl, you know, I've thought she's cute since high school. This is the 4 years I never had courage to say anything to her. And then, like, I go up and I ask my friend, I'm like, hey, my friend, hey bro, like, real talk, what happened last night? And how in the hell? And he's like, bro, you know, these one dudes came through and they were talking lip or this and that and that and this, and you were talking shit to them, and bro, you were in there, you know, just talking the lingo that we talk and that I still even talk, or whatever, just talking crazy or whatever. And then he's like, and then, you know, your ex-girlfriend came through and that bitch was trying to, you know, talk to you or whatever, and you were just like, whatever, and this and that, just stupid shit to a low self-esteem kid or guy or whatever. That's the shit. That's golden right there. Oh, you know, my friends, they seen this, and a chick, what is that going to say to me? It's going to say, hey, not only is this not a drug or whatever, but this is what happens if you do that. I mean, in one way or another, I mean, people can take it however they want to take it, but I mean, okay, if I'm the first person in this planet that falls to temptation and stuff like that and bullshit like that, well, I do apologize to you guys and go ahead and just delete this video. But anyways, that would ease my mind to other, well, pills that are made by doctors that I would eventually find hydrocodones. And because I was so stuck on that whole thing of prescription, doctor, not a drug, that I would use that. I remember one time my ex-girlfriend's mom saying, did you dumbasses not think that this was going to happen? I couldn't talk because I had so much guilt, but I looked at her and I just wanted to say, no, I promise I didn't. I didn't want to hurt anybody. I just remember me being in the shower and, you know, feeling that little feeling of comfort in my stomach, you know, because I've always had an unanswered pain, and how my girlfriend would, like, she would, like, pull back the curtains and stuff, and we're looking at each other like, oh, you know what's coming, you know what I mean? Like, that, it's just innocence, I mean, just a happy feeling. Those hydrocodones would eventually, it was December 31st, 2012, and I remember going to try to get some. Ladies like, and I'm going to highlight my reasons on the whole, what is that show or whatever that people are always talking about? I've never even seen it.
Breaking Bad?
Breaking Bad, and how they'll talk about ice or whatever, that life, and they present it out, and people are, you know, talking about it. Dude, fuck that, honestly. And if you're a Breaking Bad fan, please tell me why I'm wrong later on when I bring that up, too. Please believe I welcome every single rebuttal. Yes, it's just a show. Why are people fucking putting it on their fucking timeline every single day and on their background picture? And then, exactly, my friends. It's just a show. Can you please stop with that? You look ridiculous. Please stay tuned to your family because I don't know why you're bored with them or why you don't think that you can go fuck with them, but I mean, that's where it's at. You don't need to watch that dumb shit. That's not there's no cool in giving up like I did whenever times got hard. It's people that make it, you know, and people that are trying to make it, and people that have been through the bullshit. That's where it's at. We should make a show about that, and then we should spread that shit. But anyways, the lady basically said that she was out of the hydrocodones, but she had, I don't know, I can remember her nasty voice. I can remember it right now. She's like, Oxycontin or something like that. And you know what? My point on the whole Breaking Bad thing. I know Oxycontin. I've never even seen that shit. I've never used a lot, you know, any other kind of drugs besides pot, you know, back in my life or whatever. And in my school, you've seen that, the meth epidemic. You've seen all those pill things, you know, go through my school. So I was around it, best believe. Anyways, she said Oxycontin. I remember that stupid-ass Little White song, which I would slap the shit out of that dude if I ever seen him. Yes, I would. And I thought, well, it's hip, it's hype. People know it. I thought, money in my head because I am a person that loves, you know, the hustle. And now I can use it to a good thing. And then I thought, you know, the demand. And then I thought, well, it's a pill. It's a drug. A soothing thing. I didn't know that eventually, you know, that it would basically make me turn into some fucking monster. So it turned, like Zero says in a song, he's like, you know, that it would turn a Christian into a killer. Like, it's just an expression, a word or whatever. But I feel those words when somebody else says it, and I understand what they mean. I'm not saying that I killed somebody. Please believe I'm not saying stupid shit like that. I'm just basically saying that, like, it would make me just spread so much hate that, you know what, in a way, one way or another, I have. You know? I mean, there's nothing worse than that. When my mom has asked me, she's like, think of other people's moms. And I'm thinking, it's not here, it's there. It's stupid shit. That spread of that hate. That eventually, you know, I don't run out, or there'd be a time where I didn't know if I wanted money or if I wanted that fix. And to still be telling me that it's not over because I had money, I felt like I was living a normal life. That's why I could never get out of it. I thought, okay, my bills are paid, or I have this, or I have that, I have a roof over my head, I have a girlfriend, there's a car, stupid shit. That's what I was judging. That's the lie that my mind told me that, hey, everything is cool. Hey, this ain't, what are you doing wrong? That eventually that I'd be so desperate to where, yes, I would hit that bottom, and yes, I would even be introduced to the deadliest drug in the world. And I'll go ahead and talk about heroin, I'll talk about ice, I'll talk about that. I'm no stranger to any of those things. I don't talk about it because, like, you know, I want to get a certain woo out of you. I'm talking about it because it happens to people that have been brought up a certain way that they don't even know it, don't even know what it looks like, have never ever seen it in their life, and are programmed to this, and that it happens to them. It happens to those people that don't even smoke pot. Whenever I used to skip school with my friends, and I would let them go out and do their little thing, and I felt like, oh, I'm betraying my dad or my mom because I remember them. It was programmed in my head. And because of my stupid, selfish-ass bullshit, and eventually I'd have so much guilt that eventually I would do anything to just basically just try to numb myself. I thought I didn't want to feel anymore. I didn't want to feel love anymore. I was too scared of it. On that topic right there, while I have your attention on that, I remember the first time I cried. I remember the first time I, you know, because opiates, they kind of mess with your libido. I remember even the first time feeling like a man again, and it was just like, oh my gosh. And I felt alive. And I had hope. And these feelings come back. You know, I remember even like thinking about giving up or stop using it. We tried so many times, but we couldn't because you would think nasty withdrawal. I mean, it feels like a fucking flu times 10. Your bones hurt so much, and you get so depressed, and you think that there's no hope, and then you think that you can't. In Arlington, especially, who would I go talk to? I mean, I couldn't go talk to my mom. That basically I just ran to the ground, and all she knows is about the pills. I can't go to my dad, who he's always been strong, and I mean, I felt like I couldn't reach nobody because I had so much guilt that I built myself. It was nobody else's fault. It wasn't anybody else's fault. All those people actually gave me every reason to stop, and I'll touch on that later too. But because I felt guilty, because whenever my new girlfriend or whatever, and she would say, you deserve this, or you're a piece of shit, or you're ugly, I was convinced of that to the extreme, and I did the same thing to her. And I would think back on my ex-girlfriend. I would think back on Aaliyah, and I would think back on how just a beautiful woman, always been strong, and I cannot say a damn thing about her that's bad in any kind of way, shape, or form. And I think back on, I would think back, excuse me, I would think how I just deserve it, you know, and like how I was so powerless, and like I remember seeing her and like how she would cry or whatever, and no disrespect to her, I'm just admiring her, and I'm putting her up there, and this message maybe can go out there to another woman that has been manipulated by a stupid ass, you know, conceited asshole, or somebody that thinks that from the outside it looks like maybe he might have something going, but he's a little bitch, and you know what, he's going to remember you. Yes, he is going to remember you, and maybe one day in his life, you can be everything that saves him or whatever. As the girl that's holding the camera is a part of that. And, you know, that's a part that I've reached that I wouldn't share my love with anybody else after I kind of figured out what was going on in my head. With anyone else that didn't deserve it. And now here we go. And look at what's going on. Anyways, I'm going to go back to that. I would remember just her, I mean, selfless acts, and how she would just basically try to motivate me. And she said that I was a good man, you know. And I was like, you know, I am a good person. You know, I have these traits, and I do want to help people out. And I do want to be good, but why can't I stop cheating? And why am I ever going to grow out of this shit? Like, I used to think that. And then I used to think about, like, the other stupid shit that I would do, like, on the low. And I was like, why? Like, you know, just stop. I didn't understand it then. I understand it now. I understand a lot of different things I didn't before. And I hope that I can maybe give that to somebody who doesn't understand. Because, I mean, there's nothing worse than asking why and not having that answer. Seeing somebody so beautiful. And, I mean, I remember my mom, whenever I was running off with that trick or whatever. She's not a trick, she's just a person that went through the same shit as me. But seemed the most beautiful thing that I was presented to in my life at that time. Now I've had two. Hey, even this asshole can be presented to. Yeah. Anyways, just looking at her, knowing that you're doing so much pain, and knowing that, I mean, the most beautiful thing, you know, and I couldn't reach it. I didn't even know why, you know. My mind would sing me a tune or sing me something that would get me away from that and make some kind of sense of it for them. Eventually, that I know that I made the biggest mistake in my life, and I would end up seriously like numbing myself because I didn't have the courage to just end it. You know, what do you call it? Or what do you call it? What was I going on about that? I mean, everything that other person did to me, I felt, you deserve this, you stupid ass piece of shit. You know, because I would compare the value of a person, and I would compare the bullshit and how I felt like I deserved it. I wanted to apologize to her. I still haven't had the opportunity to say it to her, you know. Like, it's kind of funny because, like, I feel like I'm that person that everything that she wanted me to be or whatever, but because I have that little unclosed chapter. But in knowing that, you know, the only thing that kind of messed with me is thinking that, and you proved something to me too, Dana. I'm gonna say that why, you know, so that you have the respect and you have the, you know, right now that we're not just going on a lovey-dovey stalker type of ex-girlfriend type thing. That this is out of respect and love that I'm mentioning this. But something that definitely fucked with me a lot is that basically, like, I just wish in one way, shape, or form that I could just tell her, like, I'm sorry, like, you know, that all that bullshit that I did to you, like, I mean, you're just so beyond that, and that I ain't shit compared to you, and that, like, even now in my life, like, I remember everything that you said to me, and I remember all that stuff, and, like, I'm trying to plug that in, and, like, I will never disrespect your name again and love another woman that could have your love, and that I put it to shame, and now I have somebody, and I've motivated somebody, and, like, you know, your message has been sent to somebody else, and she can do it again, you know what I mean? And this is what it's all about. And I mean, hold on, I'm jumping back and forth, but that's what I'm trying to come out and get out with this video. And I mean, I'm trying to touch a lot of different things, you know, with the relationships, the cheating and everything, and why we kind of do it or whatever. Because I was big on all these things or whatever, and I kind of am finding out why I did it, and it helps me out with my life today. And it doesn't matter if you're 60 years old, you know, and you've been a nasty prick, whatever, your whole life. I remember whenever, I mean, I wanted to stop, and I thought, I don't even remember what a life without this shit is anymore. Like, I don't know normal life anymore. I remember looking at people and basically saying that's what life is, normal life. You know, I wish I had that again. Man, they're lucky, you know? And now I see people, I'm like, fucking dumbasses. Like, why are you living like this? You know what I mean? Like, wake the fuck up, you know? Because now I'm judging them not on usage or whatever. I'm judging them on how they treat each other now. You know, you see a good chick with some stupid ass thing, dude, and I just want to be like, bro, I'll use my nasty abilities of being able to talk to somebody and go fucking embarrass you. I should do that, but I have a girlfriend, and I respect my girlfriend for the first time in my life. But anyways, I'm getting nervous because I'm touching really, and I'm seeing your reaction. I wish I could, like, honestly, like, that energy you're giving me, I wish that other people could see it, you know, where the odds are most against, you know. And I mean, here they are, and we're the most skeptical people, the most non-believers. We couldn't stop fucking chilling with each other. Here we are. Shock value, big crit. You know, I had to write everything he says, man. Please watch that video. I'm gonna post it too. And I mean, that's just my song. I mean, every time that I hear it, I would start crying because it's just basically like just reaching out to people and basically, you know, just being like. In the end, he says it like he touches every little thing. Like, he's like, I want to be that basically person to give somebody's even mother and, you know, some hope. And then, you know, I kind of think of that. And then he says stuff about, like, you know, him falling victim to like the Flash and everything. And then he says basically everything that we need. You know, and he's like, and it was taught in my grandmother's house. You know, I think about both my grandmothers and how, you know, that love and everything that I'm talking about right now, it was there. You know, and it's actually an honor to spread that message that they wanted to give me. And then he says in the end, he's just basically like, he puts himself in there though, like in every way. Like that Macklemore shit, that was a friendly shit that's just because everybody knows that boo-hoo, it's not good to judge people in that way. And he just basically repeated it. But if you can put yourself in there, like real talk, like put yourself in there, not on some friendly, oh, I went through it because I, you know, like to paint. You know, so I thought I was this. No, bro, like really just put yourself in there and fuck all this, like, oh my god, what are they gonna say type shit. Anyways, I'm gonna say that, you see where the rants and everything go, and that's why I need to use my notes. Okay, he basically says that, I hope that you find your way, and he's like, because I'm lost too. And he's like, I hope, you know, basically, he's just basically trying to build up that person. He's like, I'm dependent on you as you're dependent on me, and we're gonna make it. You know what I mean? And it's just this beautiful song, man. And then you see the video, and you see, like, what a G looks like, what a gangster looks like, what a man, you know, in my era or my time or whatever would build up as, like, oh, you know, to look up to, right? And you see that, but he's talking about some real shit. And everybody says, I'm the realest this and I'm the realest that, and, you know, I don't give a fuck this and I don't give a fuck that. You better be careful what you wish for. I always used to want to say that I don't give a fuck. There's nothing more scary than that. I heard it the other day and it brought me back to, like, basically how I used to feel. And it was just like, oh my god, like, I don't wish that upon nobody. I don't wish that upon nobody, just not caring. Having that finger just, like, vibrate off a trigger or whatever. And, like, just feeling almost not even justified, but just kind of tuning it out. And then being so far away from that life that the good memories are what told me it's never going to be like that again. I'm never going to have those relationships. I'm never going to have those different opportunities. And it was all bullshit. You know? I'm talking about, like, risky shit here, you know? I'm never going to drop any information or names or anything like that. Please believe I would never drop a dime. And I'm here to say that I've had felonies that would put me in jail for God knows how long, but even whenever, the first situation definitely, I remember calling my dad, and he was in Iraq, and he called me, I emailed him first, and I mean, I screwed up, and I definitely gave him every reason not to, but even in that fight that we had, and he could be so angry because we're very proud, he put that to the side, and he called me, he's like, what's up, man? And I just started crying, because I just remember just being comforted with him, and he was there with me in that moment. I just need, you know, I remember that, but I just remember, like, wanting to give up, but still kind of staying true in my kind of ways in one way or another. And then I remember my sponsor telling me, you know what, you're going to get out of here, and that shit's going to go away. And it's kind of funny because, like, I remember I had 3 different bail bonds because 2 wouldn't accept me anymore, and I had to go to another one. I had so much, like, different things build up. I remember calling in to report and saying, hey, you know, I've been gone for 3 months, this is where I was. And the first lady saying, you don't have any balance with us. I mean, that kind of stuff, I mean, if I say that to somebody else, yes, my nasty, embarrassing things, they might be like, hey, shit, I only have 1. Or maybe, you know, this dude's talking about, like, 1, 2, and 3. Like, wow, you know? I had those experiences, you know? That's my hell that I created, or whatever. I didn't deserve it. But to everyone else, maybe they would point the finger and say, you deserved it, you know? But that guilt and that bullshit is what kept that hate going. And the people that are the first to be able to say, you deserve it, well, talking about you guys. I mean, you guys got me writing notes. You guys got me inspired. I mean, I didn't go to college because I didn't think I was up to par in this. I do have the brains for it, but because low self-esteem or whatever. And now, shoot, I'm here talking for 2 or 3 hours, and I'm doing it because I think that I have something to give, and I hope that you enjoy this, and I'm trying to give everything about me. And you know what? All the tragedies in my life and all the sadnesses or whatever, overcoming that, so why the hell not, can we? Can I, you know, talk to my dad and tell him, you know what? I think this now, and I know you have a reason to doubt me because of all this, and I even present it, and I'll say it myself. But today, I'm thinking different because of this. I mean, it's a power and it's a beauty. Alrighty. Oh, and I'll even talk to you guys eventually about, like, you know, coming here and, like, eventually getting a job, making, like, the least money I've ever made in my life, and how I had to throw my pride to the side, working in the kitchen, and even, like, going through things like where, I just try to be honest, and I try to just say, you know what, like, for the first time, I'm going to try to make it because I'm out here, you know, and I think about my pops and how he was just being so selfless. And I think about my mom, how she would hit me up and call me, and how she had so much doubt, but her love wouldn't stop her from calling me and calling me and calling me and telling me, hey, you're going to make it. And how they did, you know, and then I thought, you know, maybe this could be my testimony to people that are out there who just lost hope, because I'm still alive, you know. I was alive, and I thought, I mean, I tried so hard to just make that be not possible. I'm sorry, make that be not true. I did everything. I'll talk about how I even freaking overdosed, like, a week before my mom took me to go get help. And how I thought I couldn't live without that shit. And now I'm a stranger to it again. I'm a stranger to it. And I thought that's what I was all about, because I forgot how I used to be. And then I was so stuck on how I used to be. Now I say fuck that dude too. I'm way better because I can confront these things. When I say things like I love you, I even hate you. It means something. People can feel it, you know? For the first time, I don't have to pretend like I'm worth something in cars and girls, hurting other people or whatever, or up and down and stuff. I'll put my trash out there because you know what? You can't judge me. You can, well, if you would like to, try to judge me today how I'm living. I'm trying to make it. I'm not trying to tell you guys or teach or save nobody. I'm nobody to save. I mean, how am I going to save somebody? I'm barely grabbing on and you're going to pull me down, you know? And we're going to screw both of us each other. No, I'm trying to show you, hey, you know, this is how you guys have showed me. Please, like, just be aware of it, because it's like this disease and this problem. And yes, I keep saying disease as when I heard it, I was like, are you guys fucking kidding me? But I'm that person. So please just bear with me. I'll explain it later on. But how this is just so crazy that even the teacher is going through the fight. You know what I mean? Even the person that just inspires you, you got to let them know too. You got to remind them and say, hey, you know, you're this or you're that. Even if it's the whatever lie, but just to flatter that person. That motivation is just unspeakable. Strong women. A dog. A cheater. A nasty whatever. About everything. To be able to come back and, you know, basically just apologize to these strong women. Oh my God, how in the hell did I not bring up Audrey? Another strong woman right there. I've heard this person so much. I remember just basically like things like even in the 8th grade. And it's just so funny because one time she said to me, she's like, Francis, she's like, I think that you are responding, you know, in a way to certain people in certain situations because of the hurt that you have inside. I looked at her like she was fucking crazy. It's kind of funny how, even because I thought she was crazy, how that would stick. And I'm 26 years old now, and I still remember that. I still remember exactly a lot of the different things or whatever. And it hurt or whatever, right? And maybe if I would have presented to her in a certain way and she would have rejected me, maybe that would have spread the hate enough to me, because my mind will confuse, and not confuse me, but it'll sing me a certain tune that I'm right. And, you know, screw her or whatever. Whenever I approached, I don't know what happened, but I approached her and she came back to me in a positive way. What does that say, man? I mean, that even the people that you've heard of, you know, they're strong enough, they might just understand. And I mean, hell, it opened my mind to hope, and it opened my mind to new opportunities, and opened my mind, and I'd observe these things in her, and I just see how, like, a beautiful woman, just like what I had behind me. And, like, that basically just motivated me to be like, hell, I mean, I gotta spread this thing, you know? And, like, I see how she, the opportunities of her going through school and being married, and just how that looks. I mean, that's just like, you know what, to people that have gone through things, I mean, there you go right there. Even the just most, I mean, if you just stay true, eventually you're gonna get your riches, you know what I mean? Even the dumbass that hurt you is gonna tell you about it. Or not even have to tell you about it, but basically just admire you and hope that somebody learns and picks up from you and salutes you, you know? Okay, go back to here. Life say no. Look at these notes, I can't even, how it spreads. Cheating and abuse. I already kind of touched that. I even put bitch niggas. Like, seriously, with the notes. I'm not going to raise the one that has names on it because I wouldn't do that. I'll talk about bitch niggas. I've been one or whatever. It's easy to be one, you know? That's the easiest thing. And you know what? How are you going to pay back for it? You're going to pay back for it with flash, with money, with cars. Oh, here you go. You know, I have not been good to you in this way. I'm going to pay it. And you feel justified. And eventually, basically, that money, it's paying back for just being less of a person. What you are and what you represent and who you really are, you're making it up with material things. What message does that say? What message does that say to people that really are going through hard times and, I mean, want to fall to easy things and look at that weakness and you might just throw that at them, you know? I was telling my girl, I was like, baby, because when she was telling me about her story about just being strong and trying to make it to work, and I mean how she had nobody here to support her, but still just trying to be, you know, a strong woman, and how she made it, and it just inspired me. And I was like, you know what? What if you tell your story and some poor girl that's walking down the street or whatever just looks up and she sees some temptation or some bullshit, and because how her mind is, she's gonna think, man, you know, I see all that, the easy over there. Why the fuck do I not just go to that? And then she's gonna hear about you and how hey, in the end, even the asshole comes back and says. And like I said, I mean, I love we were talking about it just now, huh? The dude that maybe even try to be, because you admire him in the wrong way, but just basically because to just numb right now, it's fucking constant bullshit ass feeling. I respect what's going on, and I'm not trying to put anything down because, I mean, it's just a result of bad people basically trying to tell you a mixed message about yourself because they can't even confront you and they want to convince you otherwise. But anyways, how that little dumbass, maybe he thinks he might be, because a lot of girls like him, a lot of women like him. They think that because he has these certain bullshit, that he's a certain somebody. And how that bitch ass motherfucker steady be hitting up the phone. And because I have so much trust in you, I don't even want to look at it. And how we have a relationship where our accounts are open and how we can look at each other's messages and how, I mean, what's up? What's good with that? That we can say that to somebody. Back. We're talking about fall downs. Please believe the fall downs. Talking about how Dana was trying to hold it down, whenever I got laid off. I'll even tell you how I felt when I got laid off and how at that point, if I would have said basically what I observed at that company, that, I got laid off because they were doing things a certain way and I wasn't really feeling it and I stood up to it, I would sound like a crazy idiot. Or anybody else that would get laid off, right? So, and because some asshole on the phone basically, made me feel like that whenever I was trying to explain to him, right? I was like, oh my gosh. Well, anyways, I remember me referring to Dana. I told Dana, I was like, hey, you're going to see where, I'm going to go back to the bitch niggas. And please believe I'm not, trying to disrespect any race because that word has nothing to do with race, basically. Mine is, or how I say it's more about a culture, more about just the lingo so that, people that like me can understand it. But anyways, you'll see where bad people will end up. And a multi-million-dollar company, a month later, closes down. I mean, I didn't even want to be that right. I mean, shit, I wanted to be proven wrong, but I mean, I am that proof of that. He lost the company because of bullshit. I knew that was going to happen, because, I mean, that's just the way it works and stuff. Anyways, I knew that as long as me and her stayed true, that whenever they kept fighting my unemployment benefits and they used false documents and they used some attorney, and I felt like I had all the odds against me, kick that dude's ass on in that thing. And you know what? Because I was broke those 2 or 3 months, it would be in a lump sum in the end, and I could pay back a mess up that it all happened basically just in time, And there's been times when me and her didn't have nothing to fucking eat. I thought, how the hell are we gonna make it? There's times that basically, like, I had to feel guilty about her going to work, and I went to the South Center Mall that's like an hour in traffic, and to some Craigslist post looking for just ideas of somehow how to make money, and embarrassed to even tell her because, that's not even because of how she makes me feel, but because she shines, and I mean, what energy, well, how can I respond in a negative way? The only way I can respond is to, well, hell, she's not asking anything from me, and I don't deserve this, well, boom, I'm a positive way, right? It's the bare minimum. I gotta go out there and try to make it. If not, then I can come home and be all depressed and all emo and go upstairs and fucking just go to sleep because I don't even want to feel. Now I stay up because shit, me and my girl are chopping it up and we're talking and we're feeding off of each other. But anyways, let's go back to that. And I can tell you my story about how, like, that day I got rejected or whatever. And but because I did it right, I'm like, hey, I tried, I came back home. The next day, me and her tried to do it again. And eventually it was a $100 idea to a $200 idea. And how, like, all of a sudden, how we came home and, like, we're told no. Gas tank was on E. We didn't have no food in the refrigerator. And I had that feeling of guilt because it was my fault. I couldn't say shit to her because she's held it down. And that's a nasty feeling. And how out of nowhere I just said, you know what? I got shit to lose, so I made another attempt. Because you have nothing. When you have nothing to lose, you have everything to gain. But anyways, I made an attempt, and the person was basically, it was at the point where they were about to hang up, and then a chance was given. And then that little idea, it turned out to thousands of dollars. It didn't turn out to $200 or whatever. It's not even about, my point in that is basically saying, if you do right, it's going to come back to you no matter what. What's going on? Where are you looking?
I need the charger.
Oh, is it not dying? People are like, please let that phone die. He just keeps talking. Oh, but anyways, man, I mean, if you could sit through and listen to this, I mean, do you know the energy that you're going to give me? Like, I'm going to try to think of different ideas. I'm going to try to think of basically trying to just promote this. And if you have some kind of idea too, I mean, the sky's the limit, if you don't like how somebody's doing something, for the first time in my life, I was like, you know what? Instead of fucking talking shit and bitching about it, do it better or whatever, right? And in that, I met this beautiful woman that's holding the phone right now. And in that, different ideas blossom in my head. And I was trying to do right. I wasn't just, hey, doing right. I wasn't some, I could walk on water or whatever. No, when I stepped in the tub, I went right into the water or whatever. You know what I mean? And it worked out for me. You know what I mean? I'm preaching this. I'm saying that I'm a non-believer. I think that if I were to see this video, even whenever I was in my darkest hole, I mean, maybe so it could have got me out, but I would have been the first person like, cut that shit off, man. Go ahead and play me some other bullshit. Bullshit that you see out there or whatever. And it just tunes us out to it. What does that say or what does that do? What am I keep going on this? Oh, the whole job opportunity thing. Job. Business opportunity. People say, I have an idea for a business. Sounds like total nonsense. Because of the job that I've done before, and because I seen how some other asshole didn't do it right. And instead of bitching, kind of just took little self-notes. It went from that position to the owner making such and such money, let's just say, because that's what, we value certain things. I mean, dude, come on now. I love material things just as much as the next or whatever, right? And how, that idea can just explode, and just basically that selfless thought can just be so like, I mean, it can give you gifts that you never could even imagine. And how I have this idea, and I'll sit here and I'll explain it to you. I don't want to do another 2 hours though, so I'll explain it, and I'm so firm on that this will work. I mean, I could never say this comfortably in my life. I'm doing it right now. It sounds so crazy. And how, because you know what, I am that everything that I've just been talking about, and to be able to overcome it. To be able to make that this page, and to have every doubt, see the first post, and just see people responding on there. I mean, that's just a beautiful feeling, And because I have low self-esteem, I'm thinking, oh no, what are people gonna think? I gotta just say fuck that, because you know what? If I don't, it's now or never. Like honestly, like there you go, Big Crit said it again on his song. I gotta meet that dude. And my girl tells me, she's like, you're gonna meet that dude. A lot of things that we told each other that just sound like a bunch of bullshit. We faked it till we made it, and like honestly, you just gotta just be like Dana, walk. And I told Dana, I was like, damn girl, I was like, I tilt my hat to you. I was like, we're in Tacoma. I was like, there's a bunch of fucking crazy ass motherfuckers out there. I wouldn't walk out in the street, Hell, right now, hell no, I would not walk out there. Are you crazy? And my poor little girlfriend just strutted alone, not not a hope, just basically just maybe you felt hopeless at that time. Did you know that you're going to have some conceited, a-hole, that exact person that served every feeling that, I mean, just be singing about you, just talking about you, you know what I mean? I talk just like my cousin Sebastian. Oh my God, when he talks, I'm like, oh gosh, just as crazy as I am. Nah, G, real talk, if you get to the end of this, bro, and like you tell me that, that you saw this Sebastian, come on now, you know how overwhelmed I would be? It's anyone, I'm just saying though. That's how the low self-esteem works. If you're impressed by this, I mean, or any kind of way, I mean, please tell me. I mean, you have no idea. Me and my girlfriend were in the car, and we're looking at each other, we're vibing off each other. You guys gave us the moment that, I mean, I'm sure I needed it. I'm sure she was more than happy to have that. We're just looking at each other and just like, oh, hey, like, the true meaning of that, It's a beautiful thing. How I'm talking to my pops or whatever, and like, when he has every single reason just to be like, dude, what the hell? Now I'm just like, hey, trust me. Or he's like, hey, go get on your page. And it's just like, man, like, that's so what's up. I mean, it's just those gifts. And I thought, well, my poor mother, she's so proud and she doesn't want nobody to say nothing about her son. I would figure that she would get mad, and instead she responded in a positive way. I'm just telling you, everything that tells you no is bullshit. Just go out there and get it. You have nothing to lose. I mean, we invest in bullshit all the time. We risk everything. We risk our family, and we risk everything that's beautiful and everything that will save us from ourselves to go out there for the bullshit. So why could you just not risk something that could just change everything? Because one day will change the rest of your life if you get that opportunity. But most will not get the opportunity to be aware and awake to it. Don't wait until it's too late. And then think, man, I should have stopped then. Because that negative energy can get you to deeper, darker places that you never thought that you could even imagine. And that's alien. What the hell is the saying go? You're alien to it, or it's alien to you. You know what I mean, though. What an alien is. Not the fucking green thing, you know, but you know what I mean. And how, even then, that there's still hope. Jessica, here goes your part. Oh my god, if you tell me that you saw this girl, oh, you got me feel really flattered. Dude, I had the biggest fucking crush on you growing up as a kid or whatever. You're such a beautiful woman. You know, I don't know why, with whole and self-esteem, old people say, everybody has low self-esteem, okay? That's why we're in this situation. I remember like going to little Saturday night dances and stuff like that. I was so freaking intimidated that, you know, I remember going there because you said you were going there. And me showing up, and I was like so fucking nervous. And I'm like, oh my god, like, she's gonna see me, I'm gonna look stupid, you know, those kind of thoughts. That's the energy that you have, girl. That's what you are. I remember the big old fucking, you know, your big dimples, and how when you used to run to the little dance floor when they'd play that Juvenile, back that ass up, you know. Those memories, you know, that I think about those things, and that's what puts a smile on my face. And that's what, those memories are basically what tells me that, hey, there's more memories like this to go out and get, right? I'm not trying to obsess over you, girl, now, you know. My girlfriend is holding the camera. I'm trying to show you your value, and that I respect you, and that I got mad love for you. And that my pops even remembers who you are, you know, like, that is the individual that you are, that you make a mark in people's lives. But anyways, to get back, and I remember, like, just a lot, girl. Like, I remember even going back, like, I think years later, like, I went to your house, I was so nervous. I think my friend, because I was talking about, oh, you know, Jessica Perez, you know, she lives by here, by my dad's house, because we were visiting my dad originally. I went from the north side of Arlington to the south side of Arlington. 2 different worlds. You guys know that. But anyways, I think I was talking about you, and he's like, dude, fuck it, let's just go there. And there goes again, fuck it, let's just do it. And just because basically he pushed me to do it, we ended up going, and I remember you walking up and you were like, can I help you guys? Because I think you were talking out there with your family, and I mean, you saw me and I saw you, and we're like, she's like, forget this, and I was like, oh, and we started just topping it up. And then me leaving, and I was like, oh my god, all embarrassed, right? And then you hit me up and you're like, why the fuck are you acting so funny? Like, that confidence, and that just basically like that way of talking to me, like we just talked yesterday, and we've been friends and we haven't been separated that whole time. That's what's up, girl. Like, don't let nobody else tell you nothing else. Don't let nobody tell you that you fucking know something to somebody. You don't know nothing to nobody. You need to make yourself happy, because if not, all that value and all that beauty is just gonna go unseen. It's gonna go to shit like it doesn't even exist, because that's what happens to people. And, you know, stand strong. Like, real talk. You went. You had the courage to go and try to get that help. Like, real talk. Like, I'm not trying to put your business out there. There's millions of Jessicas out there, okay? So I could be talking about anyone. But you had the courage, and you reached out, and like, you gave me a little bit of you. Don't let that be something that tells you, oh, well, if I left, you know, that this is over. Or embarrassed and not try to go back again or whatever. I was forced to stay there, because I was in a different one, and I had to be forced. I ran away because my mind played me a beautiful tune. I want to get out of here because my body was hurting, and my mind painted me, go to the freedom. Go to the comfort of that one woman. Go to the, you know, everybody's rejected you. You feel like shit. You know, you don't have nothing without that. Go to it. This is freedom. This is peace. This is love. This is that. And I mean, I remember being so sick that I can't even, you know, I'll tell deep dark secrets or whatever about myself, but I'm not going to go into, like, grossing people out. But basically, I was sick. We'll just say my bones hurt and stuff. I couldn't even walk to the fucking restroom. Like, you have to, like, be assisted or whatever. I mean, like, that's how fucking crazy this can get you. You know what I mean? Anyways, how I had to be forced to stay there. And I tried to fucking get the hell out of there. Please believe I tried to plot like every single night for like the first month and a half. And eventually it all made sense. And eventually I would scream out what I was running from. But what I'm saying is, I'm nobody to what you did. Dude, alone. I don't know anybody. I've never said this to anyone. I haven't even went to the far extent to say it. And you went out and you were just... And to hear your voice and how you felt a certain way, you know what? Ain't no shame in no game. I mean, you know, like I told you, I try to run from it. You know, if you calmly went, but you have the decency to hit me back and we're still talking and stuff like that. And when you tell me that, you know, that you want to get out of it, if you truly want to get out of it, you already know that there's a place for you. You know, me and my girl gonna fucking hold it down for you until that she gets back to B&G status, because that's where it's at. You know what I mean? And then, you know, you can spread the love. And I mean, I wouldn't even say anything about you if I didn't just hold a high regard to you. And I salute you and the things that you probably have gone through, because I probably couldn't even imagine them. But I'm trying to just say that we can overcome this stuff, and here I am talking to you about it. Whew, with all that. Okay, I'm not trying to be like a whole weirdo and say like, oh, shout out to this and that and that and this. But, there are artists who have, one day were nothing, or not nothing, but to the eye of what we respect, right? And they made it, and they spread that. They just took that chance. Big Crit is definitely the big one. I cannot stop talking about Big Crit. I mean, that song Dreamin', please, you guys, look up this kind of stuff, because it's definitely motivation. And it's still, that gangster talk, if you are into that. You don't want to hear soft stuff. And now he's like a janitor, and he's just basically talking about him having a dream and how everybody told him he was full of shit. Now, I mean, what can you say about him? But he's just where it's at. I respect the dude. I wish I could meet him. I mean, you can see, the love or whatever. There's a movie, Bellflower, that I watched a long time ago. It expressed a lot of different feelings with love and stuff, and innocence, and regret, and just basically a hell that two people can create. And you can't see it, feel it, you can't touch it, you can't smell it. And it's there for that person, but it doesn't exist in no kind of way. And how two people that really deep down inside just want to be with each other will basically kill each other. Not, in a sense or form or whatever. It shows basically, different times, and the soundtrack's beautiful. Jonathan Keeble, he did it, and if you hear it, I mean, I've cried to those songs or whatever. But I forget Woodrow's name. I know who he is. You know what I mean? But anyways, how he even painted a part on there, like the first time when they made love, and then after everything that they did to each other, and how basically it was like a point of no return, and he flashes both scenes, and how this ugly situation was right there, and then boom, look how innocent it was in the beginning. And it just brings you, oh man, I mean, I remember just seeing it and like being almost confused by it, I took it a certain kind of way, and now it makes sense to me. And if that movie, he made it, I think, like 14 grand, I think. Did he even like donated 5 grand or whatever to him? It was just some guy and, old school, camera. I saw that movie. That movie's touched me, and I've showed it to people, and people like, I love to see the responses. They're like, oh, I mean, you did it too, right? Like, I've heard people say, what the fuck, whenever those parts came up. Because it's that intense, right? If I can get somebody's attention, like I just kind of explained to you, and I can input basically the innocence of this, but maybe where it can get you, and how, in the end, it was for nothing, and how we could just save ourselves from this terrible bullshit. If I could just throw it out there, it would spread. And I know it would. I mean, that's my word, because it's happened to me, I'm the biggest skeptic. And, yeah, there's been other movies about usage and stuff, but they always try to paint it in a cool way. There's always the robberies and stuff like that. Fuck that. I'll put, like, the real shit on there, and, like, the real suffering, and the real how it can hit whoever, so one way or another, people can relate to it, and they won't look at it and, oh, that's that cool shit. Because that's not where it's at, this pain and the suffering and shit, and this spreading it out to other people. I mean, if that's what you want to do, you're fine, but you know what? You're living a terrible life, and you already know one way or another. I mean, and here I go quoting people again, but it's Texas, so I have to. SPM, he's like, 99% of all criminals and drug dealers, he's like, get busted by bullets or effing squealers. He's like, but the 1% that made it was pure luck, and even he would tell you that his life ain't worth the fuck. Like, but he goes into it, like, explain it. These kind of people are just normal, average people that had odds against them or whatever, and eventually have become something that I'm talking about and ranting about, It's not silly. Oh, because they're this, and oh, because they're that. Wheezy. Ooh, love me some Wheezy. I'm going to say why, and I'm going to put it even on here. Because everybody's like, oh, he's gay and all this and all that, man. Because he just throws himself out there, and he just, like, fuck you guys with it. And that's why. No matter what. You see him when he was on the Hot Boys, and he was just basically like, the little dude or whatever. And now there's this new video with 2 Chainz, and like I see Weezy just coming out, and it's just like, hey, now he is what Cash Money is. It's just like that just expression of just just having fun with yourself. I know how it feels to basically like dress a certain way and like want to be up to a certain par. And I know how it feels to just not give a fuck anymore how you look and looking in the mirror and being lost. I know how that feels. I can tell you, you know what? There will come a time where maybe you start feeling good again, and it feels so good. Fake it till you make it, you know what I mean? Look good, just flaunt yourself and have fun with yourself, because after a while, you just don't give a fuck what everybody else says. I do not care for the first time in my life, I don't care because you know what? I'm comfortable with myself. You know, I forgave myself, but I've also forgiven other people because I couldn't ask for it without that. I try to understand the next person, and I try to put myself in there before I point the finger. I don't point the finger and say, hey, that's the bad guy, because I have that inside of me too. But that's why I'm saying goodbye. And I'm going to wrap it up with that. Thank you.